Focus. Focus. Today, I want to talk about focus, and more importantly, the lack thereof. Focus is a fantastic thing for getting things done. Focus has its merits. Focus is what we need to do when we have a task before us and we need to accomplish it. Yeah, I'll often turn off my social media and all the other distractions in life when I'm trying to actually get something written because I need to focus. I need to eliminate distractions. But when it comes to creativity, when it comes to starting new things, focus can actually get in the way. I'm standing here next to Lake Ontario, not too far from where I live, lovely beach, people walking on the boardwalk. And when I focus on the woods, on the biking trail, I see trees, I see people walking dogs, I see bikes. I see what I expect to see. And that could be a challenge when it comes to creativity, because sometimes you want to see what isn't there. You want to see what could be there. And so, you can do a little exercise. It doesn't really matter where you are right now, where you just basically stare straight ahead, focus on what's in front of you, and then lose that focus. Ignore what's immediately in front of you and just open yourself up to what's in your periphery. Because in the periphery, you don't see the hard edges of things. You don't see things in a defined manner. So your brain, your creative center can actually see things differently. It'll see things that aren't there. It will adapt. It will try to make sense of these odd shapes, these blurry images. And in that attempt to make sense, you'll discover new things. You'll find new ways of interpreting what's around you. You'll have new opportunities to explore stories, two things that are at different depth, no longer resolve as two things. Sometimes it just ends up being one thing, just some mishmash of stuff. And that's where the interesting creative comes from. Because slapping two things together that no one's ever slapped together before is novelty. Is it a story? Is it a great idea for an invention? I don't know. But it opens you up, right? You get to see things in a new way. As I stand here at the beach, I look around and I see people with their families. I see weeds. I see bins. I see a building, which, behind me, I don't know what's in that building. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe that's the beginning of the story. An isolated building in the woods near a lake, an isolated lake. There are kite surfers. I don't know if you can see them. There's one. There are kite surfers and sailboarders out there on the lake. What's going on with that? What happens if maybe a storm comes in and blows them further out into the lake? Is that an original story? I think it's been done on surfboards and that type of thing. But whatever. It's just about getting out there. It's about hearing kids screaming in the background and going, what's going on over there? They're just having fun. It's about watching the waves come in, or feeling them, or hearing them. I even use my hearing peripherally. I don't just rely on my vision out to the sides, but I use my ears. I let my ears tell me a story based on what I'm hearing around me. Years ago, I visited a zoo in San Diego, probably the San Diego Zoo. And I'm used to taking my camera out for nature walks. And I use my ears a lot to be able to figure out where to point the camera, because my eyes are often blind to what's going on around me. So I did that at the zoo. Started following sounds, started following these impressions that were coming to me, only to discover the zoo was actually piping in animal noises. It was annoying because there were no actual animals related to those noises. So I was pursuing phantoms. So I became hearing blind, if you will. Deaf? I became deaf to what was actually going on around me because the noises were being piped in. They were artificial. So So use that. Hear the conversations that you're not involved in. People walking by, chatting, getting to know each other, just hanging out. Um, take in the visions around you that aren't necessarily clear, that aren't necessarily focused. Let these impressions form in your mind and see where they take you, right? Great invention does not come from in front. Rare is the invention, whatever you want to use to define that invention. Rare is the invention that was planned ahead of time. Usually it's happenstance, it's serendipity. Leverage that, use that, play with that, learn to accept that, learn to be open to the things you can't focus on. You know, one of the tricks I talk to people about is also sometimes if you look at something, you see it very defined, you see hard edges, you see where two things are in relation to each other. But to mess with that, even in front of you, you can sort of squint your eyes, and depth perception is lost. Definition becomes hazy. Everything becomes a little blurry, and then you allow that in a sort of an abstract way to really influence what you're thinking. So focus is great. Focus gets the job done. Focus sets us in a direction. But there are going to be times when we don't need a direction because we're not there yet. Eventually you'll want to focus, but initially you just want to absorb, you just want to be open. So try to be as open as you can. Take the weekend, take just a walk in your neighborhood, and don't get run over by cars, so pay attention to traffic. But just allow your mind to wander through the abstract of the unfocused and see where that takes you. See what that creates for you. See what that opens you up to. In any event, I hope you have a creative, open, remarkable, wonderful, wondrous week ahead. Again, I'm going to plug this class out of our minds and onto the page where we're going to do unfocused creative. Again, I'll leave information in the link, but I don't want all these videos to turn into promotions for the class. Go out, be creative. See what you don't see and see what your mind takes in. You have permission to be abstract, and you have permission for it to go nowhere other than for you to be open and clear. And in the meantime, welcome to my neighborhood, which in the summer is a joyful place to be. In the winter is effing cold. Okay, take care.